nicely done. Hoyland. Oh yes, he must score surely. They have. Jamie Hoyland has done the impossible. Oh, on the stop and drops the big Gigg Lane. Chris Hussey's got space in defence. Hussey inside the box. Tries to square it back. An opportunity. It's there for Tom Zorn. And Bury take the lead.
Well, here's a crowded base for the very important goal there. He's got the right foot.
He shot. Oh, what a big goal.
And still the mighty Shakers.
Hello and welcome to the Mighty Shakers podcast, season 3, episode 12, proudly sponsored by AC Ventilation, BIMTech Engineering and Eye Level Sunglasses. And we told you we'll have a Christmas special. We said it was going to be Christmas cracker. And today we've got Bury FC interim manager Tim Lees joining us. How are you, Tim?
Great, thanks, gents. Thanks for having me on.
And obviously it is your second appearance. Normally we ask everyone what's their first memory of Bury FC. We already know what yours is. But what is your favourite Bury FC memory?
Good question, I think. Can't remember what we spoke about on the last one. It's quite a while ago, but my memories of Bury go back to, well, a long way, but I don't know if I said this last time. So I had 5 really good friends who were full-time when Bury went into admin, so working in various roles in the academy. Obviously was following it at the time and kind of lived that with them, really, and was there with them when they lost the jobs, which was really unfortunate. So they were pretty much, well, they were first ones in the country really to lose the jobs in terms of a club going to administration. So I kind of followed the journey all the way from them. But I suppose in terms of myself, it was the last game of last season. It was unbelievable to have 9,000 nearly at home. It's just unheard of really for these levels. So yeah, the experience, the day, how the whole thing went was something special.
And what are your memories of the celebrations afterwards? I know these two were out in Bury with a few of the players and staff as well.
Yeah, there was a lot of people who were out in a lot of different places across Bury, yeah. Yeah, it was a great night. I think the whole group went out and we ended up in various places by the end, but it was I think it's important to celebrate achievements like that.
Obviously, at the moment, you are Bury FC interim manager from the start of December, obviously. What did you say to the lads in your first training session with them ahead of that Sheffield Town game, which went on to be postponed?
Ahead of that one, I think, so at the time, we didn't know the situation in terms of the manager. So from my point of view, it was just short term. So I suppose there was conversations around that particular game, and then there was conversations the week later around how we're going to move forward individually and collectively as a group. I think at that particular point, it was more just focusing on that particular game, really. So it was just all focus on that game. It was prep for that game. Yeah, there was nothing really in terms of us making changes or how we're going to move forward, etc. It was literally how we're going to win this game and prepping for that.
Obviously, that game was postponed due to the weather on the morning. Was that a blessing to give you a bit more time to work the players and get a few players back fit?
Yeah, it was huge. So if you think about it, again, I don't know how much the fans know. So we'd had pretty much 2 games a week since pre-season, effectively. So when you do that, obviously because we're part-time, you only train on Thursdays. Thursdays were generally, well, as everybody knows, either trying to get players fit or it was recovery. So you'd rather peak in terms of performance and physically than overcook it. So really Thursdays had been recovering. We weren't able to get anything intense done for a long time. So that week, in terms of the game getting called off, it meant we'd had 5 sessions together. So we had the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday shift now, which was called off. Then we had the Tuesday and the Thursday. So effectively, it was like a mini pre-season for us. So I think we got some brilliant work done in that period. It was an absolute blessing that game was called off because, like I said, we were able to really go back to some principles that we wanted to put in. And I think you saw that in the next game as well.
Yeah, I think last season you said yourself and other people said how important like training time has been, and it's so hard in that point from pre-season up until now, really, that it's hard to get those 2 sessions a week with the cup fixtures as well, and how many games get squeezed in before the bad weather. How important do you think like the next stage of the season is? Because obviously January time up until the end of the season, we went on that crazy, amazing run. And do you think that was helped with having more training time?
Yeah. So when you've got back-to-back games and it's Tuesday, Saturday, it's very, very difficult because all you're doing is trying to make changes either on a tactics board or in terms of video. So I'll do some video on a Thursday with the players, but you can't actually get them to go out and feel the distances, feel the intensity, get the pressing right, whatever it is that you want to work on. So I think to get the training time and to be able to do it at an intensity that we want, I think I said the other week, and I've always said this, it's as good as a new signing to be able to get that time. I think obviously my background was full time for a long time, and you don't quite get the contact hours you do get when you're full time in terms of day to day. But certainly Tuesday, Thursdays, we've got 4 hours at Gigg, so at the pitch that we play on all the time, the same dimensions, and it's absolutely huge. Obviously, we're quite fortunate in terms of non-league, so we've got video that we can do in the changing rooms with the lads, and then we can go out and work on everything. So the training's absolutely massive, and I think you saw that last year after Christmas when we went won 15. Yes, there was other factors into that, and we've made changes and we brought a couple of players in, but one of the main drivers was the ability to be able to train twice a week and the work that we could get done.
How has the team been with you since you've kind of stepped up?
With regards to the players?
How the squad been?
Do you know what, Will? They've been absolutely outstanding. I think, if I'm being really honest, I had obviously a decision to make when the club wanted me to take over, and I think it was probably the players that made me take it in the end. So the players were really keen for me to do it. I think a couple had approached and had said we'd like to go to the board, so we really want you to do it. So I just had to weigh a few things up in terms of commitments outside of it, but the players have been absolutely phenomenal, yeah.
And has your focus changed much? Sorry, Henson. Because I know obviously with Dave moving into a different role, has the focus changed much? Because obviously you were part of that team from the start of the season.
Yeah, good question. I think so. With Maka going upstairs, I think, well, first of all, that's an unbelievable move for the club in terms of the experience that he brings. I could talk about that for a long time. But with regards to mine, I think, look, me and Maka were aligned with everything. But everyone's got their own way of doing things. Everyone's got their own beliefs. Everyone's got their own way that they communicate to players and their own values and principles that they want to put in. And obviously, I've got my own experiences. And when I was assistant, my job was to fully support Maka, and I would always give my opinion to him. But at the end of the day, that Maka's the manager, and my job was to back whatever he said. And like I said, we were aligned on 99% of things, I think. But everyone's got their own personality. Everyone's got their own way of doing it. And I'm certainly very strong in terms of what I want from the group. So yeah, there will be some changes that have happened already and that will continue to. And hopefully the fans will see that, yeah.
It would be quite funny if we just changed to playing Route 1 football or something. You going from your assistant to being the manager and then just completely changed it and we just started humping it from the back to up front. That would be quite funny.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. No.
Good. Will might like that actually though, but I'm not so much. You mentioned about you being in full time and your past experiences. Are there any experiences that you can remember from working full time that you can touch on and pull on for stepping into management?
Yeah, I think so. So I started coaching really young. I started at 16. I did it as part of just turned 17. I did it as part of a college course. So I went back to my old school, and I've been released by 2 full-time clubs at the time, and I wasn't quite sure, but I was getting the bug for coaching. And I first started off doing grassroots teams. I took an under-16s grassroots team, loved it. Was just doing it for the passion, and then moved on to had some really good experiences. So worked at Watford where I was 12 to 16s, worked with them, and that was at the time that was the first. It was actually the first full-time model. It was the only club in the country who were training during the daytime. So the lads would come in. We train them at 8 in the morning before they went into school. We train them at lunch, and then we train them after. So effectively, they were living like full-time athletes. And again, that was the first system at the time that did that. So learnt a lot on that side. Moved to Wigan after that, where I pretty much managed every age group from 9s to under 21s, and was overseeing the 12s to 16s. So within that, we had a principle at Wigan, which was we wanted like an ex-player at every age group. So someone who was like an ex-player, particularly at Wigan if they could, but an ex-professional, and the coach who didn't necessarily have to have a playing background, but more of a coaching background. So I was probably 24, 25 when I was running that phase. So if you think about, there was a lot of big personalities that you have to manage at that point, and my job as a deemed as not much experience in terms of playing, I had to try and drive a philosophy and a way of playing and convince staff that that was a way of doing it that had a lot more experience than me. So that challenges you in a lot of different ways, and from a managerial point of view. And then I went on to Liverpool and was full time there, and then went to the States as academy manager. So I think for all that period, really, you're managing staff, you're managing processes, you're managing people. Yes, the coaching's massive, but pretty much for 16 years, my job was management. So I think that those skill sets, those transferable skill sets, are what I use now, and obviously in this role that I will use. So yeah, that's I think I've got a lot of experience that I can bring to the group.
When you sort of look at the managers and coaches of the world today, who do you like to draw influence from?
Do you know what? I've been influenced by a lot of top coaches. I've been very fortunate to have some great experiences, and when I was probably between 22 and 30, I spent a lot of my own money traveling the world and going around watching first team managers in Spain and spending money off my own back to study people. And it was a bit of an obsession for me, really. My only ambition at the time for all that period was I just wanted to be a Premier League manager or a Premier League coach. That's all I wanted. So along that way, I've been very fortunate to learn off some brilliant coaches. Pep Lijnders assistant at Man City now, who won obviously Champions League and Premier League with Liverpool. You could go through loads of different people: Mick Beale, Nick Cox, Alex Inglethorpe. But I think the biggest one was probably Roberto Martinez. So that's where I would say I had the biggest learning curve. And yeah, I'd say that's where I've learned a lot. And I think you pick different things up from different people, and that forms your way of doing it.
And was looking at Roberto Martinez especially, what is the one thing that he said or did that made you like stop in your tracks and think of things differently after he did that?
So that's an interesting one. So when I first took over, I'd obviously managed the academy at Watford, and then I'd gone back to Wigan. I'd done it for a year, and then Roberto wanted to get involved with the academy around the philosophy and producing certain players, and he'd been there a long period at that point. So the first time I met him, I actually went into his office, and me and the assistant academy manager went in, and we thought it was literally just a catch-up conversation. And he said, "Right, guys, what's our academy philosophy?" So we started walking through it, and he said, "Have you got it on like a drive or a USB stick?" I said, "Yeah, we've got all that." And basically it turned into about a 3-hour conversation where we completely dissected the whole of the programme, the way we coach, what types of players he wanted to produce. And yeah, he's one of the best in the world. And just in terms of that, the 1v1 side is probably the biggest thing that I took. So creating 1v1 players, again, I could talk about it for a long time, but the ability to outplay people 1v1, to win your 1v1 duels, the individual side of coaching and improving players from an individual rather than a collective point of view was probably the biggest thing I took from him.
Obviously, looking back at Bury now, one of the benefits of being the manager is you get to park close to the stadium. How's the parking space working out for you?
Yeah, we're doing okay at the minute. I think well, we've won 2 out of 2, and no one scratched my car at the minute yet, so I'm all right. But we'll see. We'll see. I might have to move that if we lose a couple.
Obviously, you won that first game against Mossley. How did it feel managing Bury for the first time?
Yeah, it was an immense privilege. I think to be in a position of leadership at a club like Bury is already something that I don't take for granted every day. So then to obviously manage and lead the club for however long that period was or would be, at that point, obviously it was just going to be one game. But I was incredibly proud, really excited for the game, and it's something that no one can take away from you.
For that Mossley game, you made a few changes to the team from the previous game. As soon as you got that your interim manager, did you know your starting 11, or did you have to think about it and see in training and things like that?
Yeah, so I think we had a couple of players who we thought were probably not quite ready. So your Cal Spooner, your Owen Robinson, who I was really keen to put in. They played 21s, they trained. I think both of them had done 3 contact sessions. And the plan really was to give them 30 minutes at the end, bring them back in and bring them in slowly. Obviously, I've got a way of playing that I want, and those two, well, you've seen in the last 2 games. I know the fans didn't get to see them a lot pre-season, but they're absolutely outstanding players for the level. So I was really keen to bring both of them in. So I think, yeah, I wanted us to get back to playing the way that I would want to, and I wanted us to get playing again. I thought it was a good opportunity, particularly at home, to do so. Um, so yeah, I chose the team that I felt as if there was a couple of gambles in there, but I felt as if could reflect what I wanted.
And obviously, centre back Luke Tabone coming in. Did you have much to do with that, or was that a higher up kind of decision?
Yeah, we've watched him for a while, so we've kept an eye on Luke. We know we wanted a profile of a centre back that at the minute we've only got Lou and Neilding, and we obviously lost Dux, so we need a profile of a centre back with size, with power, that could be dominant in the leadership. So we've watched Luke quite a lot, both in person and on Y Scout as well. And he became available, yeah. So obviously, through Danzy and Duffy, we know at Southport, it became available, and it was one that we're really keen to do.
It was brilliant on Saturday as well, I thought.
Yeah, he was excellent. He really was.
In your interview on Saturday, you said that we'd be looking to bring some reinforcements. Can we expect any movement before the Clitheroe game?
Yeah, we'll have one in before then. I think my concern was the immediate concern was as a left back. Once we'd found out Ducks were going to be another couple of weeks, you can get by with different lads playing there, but you want lads playing to the strengths. And I've spoke to the lads in depth about their identities and what we want from them from an individual point of view, and that I'm going to give them every opportunity to bring the strengths out. So I don't think that's fair then if I'm then playing them out of position consistently. I want to be flexible in terms of, without giving too much away to other people who might be watching, I want to be flexible in terms of the back line as well. So I really wanted someone on the left side like Dux, who was defensively solid, who could defend 1v1. He was aggressive. So we'll probably have one coming in before then, because Connor Pye, I think he's going to be about another 4 or 5 weeks. It's looking before he's match fit and playing. Dutch is probably going to be a minimum of another 2 to 3 weeks. And you don't want to drop points in that period, because then if they get delayed for whatever reason, which we saw with Rob, or we came back slightly too early, did his groin, it was then another 3 weeks. It's obviously a results-based environment. So, yeah, we're probably going to bring someone in before then to play on the left side. And I think obviously that everyone knows we need some backup for DJ as well. So we need another 9 who's going to be challenging. He's on 7 bookings at the minute, and he's particularly over Christmas period that's really busy. If he gets injured, there's people who can play up there, but they're not out and out strikers, and they don't have the profile that he does. So I think it's important that we bring someone in to help DJ out up there as well.
One player that's impressed me since he's coming in from Wigan, Leo Graham. Like, when I first saw him at Witten, I wasn't too sure how he'd fit in, but he's been fantastic these last few games. Obviously, his loan spell finishing on 27th. Can we expect to see him sticking around Gigg a little bit longer?
Yeah, so with Leo, we've been trying to get him since pre-season. Being honest, we probably had no right to get him. He's had interest from full-time clubs much higher up. I think obviously because of my relationships at Wigan, in terms of the staff over there, we've been quite fortunate to get him in. He's a top-class player. I think obviously on the eye, he's done really well, but his numbers are absolutely off the scale in terms of the amount of regains he gets, the grounds that he covers. Did 12k on Saturday in the game, and in terms of how I want to play that pressing, is exactly what we want as that profile. So
And actually, like he's fitting in really well. Like when I was filming the Christmas stuff for the club, like him, DJ, and Beto seem to have a nice relationship, and yeah, he's definitely bought into the fans as well. Looking a bit more about the interim manager, how did you feel when you were asked to take over for the rest of the season?
Yeah, it was. So it came quite quickly, obviously, with everything that happened. I'd gone from obviously taking it to then being assistant again to the club wanting me to step up and do it. I think there was a lot, being transparent, there was a lot I had to consider. So although it's part time, I've got big responsibilities outside of it, in terms of my job during the daytime and family, etc. And obviously the commitment to manage Bury is huge. So I just had to work a few things out on that side. I was obviously really keen to do it, and once the players had made it clear that they really wanted me to do it, look, it was nothing to do with. I'm very confident in what I can do with the group, and I'm really clear, and I've got clarity on how I want to evolve the team, how I want them to play, how I think that can improve. But being honest, fellas, it was just commitments outside of it, because Macca's quite unique. He's completely intense with it, and I've seen the time that he commits to it, which is incredible. So I just wanted to make sure that I could do that outside of it, because it's obviously I finish my work during the day at 5, and then it's 5 till Macca's 5 till midnight, 1 o'clock, pretty much every day. So I just needed to make sure I could commit. But once I'd done that, yeah, I was really excited and, like I said, really confident in where this group can go.
Buy the missus a few extra Christmas presents as well.
I think. Yeah, potentially, yeah.
I think it was a welcome appointment. I think everyone was buzzing with it, really. I think every time we've had people on, and you mentioned the players asking you, the players have always sung your praises and how good of a coach you are and person are, and like the fans love you. So, and you've had a great start, 2 wins from 2. If you win on Boxing Day, be up for manager of the month, I think. 100%.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long we'll keep the 100% record up for, but hopefully as long as we can.
Well, obviously the Newcastle game as well. We can talk a little bit more about that now. Another clean sheet. That must be very pleasing for you.
Yeah, really pleasing. If you're gonna win leagues, or if you're gonna get promoted, I think that's the most important thing. Being solid without the ball, being organised, making sure we're not conceding goals. I think obviously everybody knows, and I've spoke about it before, our away form's not been great. And to me, it's more the performance. I want to see performances. I want to see traits in the team that are going to continually get us results. So I think you can win games and nick games and look at the performance and go, this isn't sustainable. But I think the way we played, the attributes that we showed, the traits of the team was suggestive of we're really moving in the right direction here. So I thought we looked defensively absolutely solid. We constantly won the ball back in their half. We had the highest possession we've had all season again. So last 2 games we have been the highest 2 in terms of with the ball. Number of regains, number 1v1 duels we won. All the numbers are really up. So from a performance point of view, I was really pleased. Look, there's loads of areas we can get better at and improve, but yeah, I was really happy with the performance Saturday.
And obviously, Sam Ashton's going to be assisting you in the role. How's that dynamic working so far?
Yeah, Sam as assistant, Craig Carney, Brian Richardson will be that's the managerial team. Obviously, Chris on the analysis side. So I think from my point of view, your staff's really important. I've always believed that. I think if I look back through my experiences, the culture and the way the staff operate at every club I've been at is absolutely key. So first and foremost for me, I think it's really important the personality traits of staff rather than knowledge. So when I mean that, I've had brilliant coaches in Wigan and Liverpool and in America that are outstanding in terms of on the pitch, but the personality is they might not be able to relay that information right, or they might not be demanded of standards and discipline. So for me, I think your traits of people are more important than the actual knowledge. That's first and foremost for me. Then the knowledge comes after that. So I think if you look at people in terms of Craig, Sam, Chris and Bri, first of all, you've got extremely loyal people who will do anything for the club, for the players. They love the club, they love the fans. they've got the passion to want to do better. Most importantly, they're loyal and they've got integrity. So for me, and again, I've seen this with staff before, I think whatever conversations you have in a room as staff, whether it's around selection or the way you want to play or whatever it may be, you say what you want in the room. So I don't want to be surrounded by yes men. So you say what you want, but then once you go out of that room, in terms of the media or the players, you 100% back that. And I think with the staff, that's what we have. We're all aligned. We're all on the same page. We've got loyalty, integrity, and I think the fans can trust the group that we've got. I couldn't be more happy with the guys.
I think the only negative about Sam is the Bolton aspect. He's the perfect character for it, but when I was doing the Christmas filming, all he kept mentioning was Zach Clough in 2016.
Yeah, he loves it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Is he not showing you his tattoo yet?
No, he hasn't shown the tattoo. He wasn't brave enough to show the tattoo on camera.
We should have.
I think we should do that as a feature. See how that goes down.
I think we should have Mike versus Sam Ashton at the end of the season. You've done white colour before, haven't you, Mike?
Sorry?
You've done charity boxing before, haven't you?
Yeah. But I mean, Sam's a big lad. I don't think I'd take that.
Mike, you've seen it. We've got the ring at the ground.
You have, yeah.
Put you in, no problem.
Get it out in the middle of the pitch.
So looking forward, Clitheroe on Boxing Day. What are your thoughts ahead of that fixture?
Yeah, just finishing the prep now. So we've got a session tonight. Just walking through, just finishing a couple of things that we're going to tweak and how we're going to play and how we're going to do it. Can't wait. I've had a couple of calls, a couple this morning, a couple last night from the players who haven't played in a Boxing Day fixture before, and you know better than me. I think it's one of the ones that you look to at the start of the season. The Boxing Day, I thought last year the Ramsbottom one was incredible. The atmosphere. I think we got just short of 6,000, didn't we, last year? So I don't know where we're at. I think it'll be interesting to see the numbers that we get this year. But like I said, it's always one of the fixtures that you look forward to, because we know obviously there's a lot of families that come. There's people that don't normally come, and I always say to the players all the time, you need to try and play the game like that person in the crowd. That's the first and last time they're going to see you play. So again, we just focus on the next game. That's the way I work. I don't particularly look at, yes, the league table's important, but for the things I'm trying to get into the group at the minute, it's the next game that matters, and that's the only one.
Will you be doing a Pep Guardiola? And for those that aren't too sure what that means, is he's done a press conference this week saying he's going to weigh all his players before the Christmas day, and then when they come back, he's going to be testing to see how much of that.
Well, when's this getting released?
It'll get released tonight when you're training.
Oh, is it? No, we're not going to do any weights then. The problem that we've had is when we tell the lads before, so we do weights periodically, and they don't eat for the full day, so we don't give them a heads up anymore.
Who do you think would be the worst for it? Who's going to be stuff in the face on Christmas Day?
I know exactly who's going to be worst. I can't say, but I know exactly. I know two people who definitely will be the worst. You can have a guess, and I won't say anything. Go on.
What? I was going to say staff would be Sam Ashton. I bet he loves a turkey dinner.
All day, definitely. Do you think? Right, we'll put that in. We'll weigh Sam. We'll do it tonight, pre and post Christmas.
We'll do a guess. Yeah. Guess on what the weight is
when I gets a half season ticket. Can we expect to see any returning players from injury on Boxing Day, or do you not want to give too much away?
No, it's fine. Gav, we're still waiting on his touch and go. Ducks won't be back. Neil Day is training tonight, so he should be absolutely fine, hopefully. So yeah, I don't think we'll get Gav back. Ducks has got no chance. Connor Pye, no chance. Aidan Walker, obviously no chance. But everyone else should be okay.
I think like one of the good things about the past few weeks as well is how Dave sort of interacted with fans as well. Like he started to do the social media updates.
Okay.
That seems like a real positive step forward. Is that something that you've spoke about together?
Yeah. So I think it's important that obviously I know Mac is going to have a conversation with you guys at some point, and he'll walk through the strategies and his role and how it works. But we do feel as if having more communication with the fans is really, really important. So we will do that as a feature. And we're obviously open to anything else that, within reason. Obviously, there's certain things that have to stay confidential, but by all means, we're open to communicating as much as possible. And Maka spoke to me over the weekend about doing this as a feature. And we had our Christmas do with stuff like that, and he told me it had gone down really well. So yeah, by all means, that's something that we can do, and we're always open to open communication. I think it's really important.
Just going back to the Boxing Day, are you going to be having any family and friends coming to the game?
Yeah, I've got a few actually. Yeah, I've got 4 or 5 coming over. A couple for the first time, so really looking forward to it.
Nice.
How will you be celebrating if we get 3 points Boxing Day?
Do you know what? That's one thing we're trying to be better at. And it's one thing I really want to try and push. So, because of the size of the club, it's kind of more of a relief when you win. We don't celebrate it enough, and I think that's a culture that I want to try and push within the players and within the group. That it's really difficult to get 3 points at this level and at any level above this. So I think we've got to enjoy that more. And like I said, that's something that I really want to push within the group. So hopefully another 3 points and we keep this record up.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously not inside the club like you are, but I agree with that because with the club our size, like there becomes so much expectation on every single match, and if you don't get 3 points one game, like the expectation of the next match is so huge. So you can sense that sometimes in games that, like the start of a game, if it doesn't start so well, then you can just feel it in the atmosphere. So players should be celebrating, maybe not the level that Chadderton do, where they do like a video in the change rooms after every match singing. Maybe not a level, but like should be having a beer after the game and celebrating, shouldn't they? And then going on to the next game.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Yeah.
Have you been practicing your fist bumps after only doing the one against Mossley at home?
Just the one, I can't remember. Was it? Yeah. It's not something that I have practiced, mate. But in fact, I used to kill Macca for it, but now I've got right involved, haven't I? So I've got involved with the cheesiness of it. But no, it's great. More than happy to. Yeah, the atmosphere, the fans are just brilliant. It's the main thing. And then going back to the points you were making there, I think. So when you're trying to recruit players and you're trying to bring players in, it's obviously the first thing you think about. So you sell the positives of it around the fans, and it's the one thing people come for. It's the one thing they worry about the most because of the pressure, and nobody knows what it's like until you're in it. No matter how you try and describe it, it's a completely unique scenario. So for a semi-professional footballer to go from playing in front of a couple of hundred, where if you have a bad game, nobody says anything to you whatsoever, to then you can play in front of an absolutely enormous crowd between 2,500 and 4,000 generally. It's not normal for a semi-professional footballer to do that and then go to a normal job after that. So it takes a certain mentality and a certain amount of confidence to be able to do it.
Yeah, I think we touched on it towards the end of last season when we had a couple of players on before we got promoted, and we said that like it doesn't actually matter the level we're at to some people, like, and especially kids. Like kids come to Bury now and watch the players that we've got the same way that we probably went to Bury and watched the players that we saw in the Football League. Like to kids, there's no difference. I remember somebody's kid going dressed as Josh Gregory to school for like sports day thing or something like that. Like that's brilliant. It's just like the level that the club is. It doesn't actually matter, does it? So like the players are coming in and they're becoming like celebrities and professional footballers to people.
Well, it's a one-club town, isn't it? So this is what I say to the players all the time. Like someone who's at any of the other clubs in our league, yes, they might support them, but the first team is a Liverpool, a Man United, a Man City. Bury's probably the only club outside of 2-3 divisions higher that is the only club that they support. So these are the things that we try and educate again the lads on, and so they can understand the responsibility of playing for Bury.
Just, I know you mentioned the pressure of playing for Bury. How do you sort of deal with that as a management team? Like, like say, if like, cause obviously social media is such immediate feedback now. Like, how do you sort of deal with that internally? Like, if a player might seem to be struggling, for example.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the honest answer is, okay, so this will be quite a long answer, and I'm glad you've asked actually. So like any large fan group and any large fan base of anything, 99.9% are positive, encouraging, want the best for that particular whatever it is that they're following. And then you'll always get a tiny percentage that are negative. What I find, or I've found as a first team coach and as an assistant manager over the last 2 years is, and I think this is really important to say. Unfortunately, the small percentage of times where fans are critical to the players. See, listen, I'm a big believer in freedom of speech, but at the same time, I think personal criticism, i.e., the players will come to me and they will show me personal messages that they've had. Now, again, I don't like it when it gets personal because the way we want to play. So if you're going to play for Bury, most teams are going to come and sit in against you. So most teams are going to be difficult to beat. They're going to be really organised. So that takes a certain amount of bravery and courage to be able to take the ball under high pressure, i.e., high pressure from an opponent and high pressure situations and high pressure moments. Unless you're going to pay absolute fortunes, you're not going to be able to recruit a squad that has come from League One, League Two, is used to playing in front of those fans. So what you're trying to get is the best players at that respective level. Now, what you're always trying to weigh up when you bring players in is how are they going to cope with this intense pressure? So everybody wants it. Everybody thinks it looks great on the outside. And then when you come in it and you have a bad game and you're not used to the criticism, how are you going to deal with that? And I'll be completely honest, some players that have left us have found it really, really difficult. And again, I've seen the personal messages, which some of them I think are really disappointing. And you do spend a lot of time during the week trying to pick lads up, make them believe in themselves, make them be the best version of themselves, encourage them to make mistakes. And that is a large portion of it, particularly when they do make mistakes. So it is part of it. I think when you come in, like I said, it's something that we try and educate people on. But I'd just say try and be like the 99% of fans, which is really positive, really encouraging, because it makes a massive difference. These are really young lads who haven't been brought up in full-time environments generally where they've had that exposure. So I think that the positivity makes a massive difference for them, and they need positivity when we lose. They need positivity from me. They need me to lead now in moments when they're down. It's easy doing it when you're winning and you fly, and it's in those difficult moments or when you make mistakes. So the first thing I said to the lads when I came in last week was, the last thing you want to see if I'm asking you to make more mistakes and be more brave is you miss a chance or you don't go 1v1 or you try and be creative. You look on the side and I'm throwing my arms up and I'm coming in at half time, being really critical of you. So my big thing to the staff that, well, we worked it in 4 points. The first thing was to try and give the group confidence and try and build the confidence up. So don't show frustration. We're there for them. Encourage them when they're playing well and they might not be winning the game. The second thing was our communication. So I said to all the staff, I want our communication to be, for the next 3 or 4 weeks, all based on effort. So let's not say to the lads, right, you're the best players in the league, you should be winning the league, and trying to put more pressure on them. It's more every time they press, every time they're aggressive, every time, even in training and activity, that they do something that's effort based. I want you to reward them and praise them. So that was like the second way that I wanted to promote it. Third way was in training. So again, I won't go too much into it, but build training around how we want to play specifically. So winning 1v1 duels. So we start every session off with 20 minutes of 1v1 duels, and it's competitive. There's a forfeit for the losing team. So we build the culture that way, that winning mentality and accountability. And then the last bit was the system and the style. So the things that I've challenged them, and I might have gone into too much on this, but first thing I said to them, away from the system, away from the style, away from how it looks, is you've got to be covering 10.5k, particularly if you're a midfielder. So the numbers weren't high enough. If you're going to play in my team, you need to hit those distances. If you're not, you're not going to be playing. It's simple as that. So obviously with that comes your work rate. The second thing is 1v1 duels. So there's a certain amount of 1v1 duels that I felt as if the group weren't winning. So 1v1 duels is obviously different for different players. So for DJ, it's back to goal, holding a ball up with pressure from a centre-back. For Rusty, it's going at someone 1v1. For Lewis Sherwood, it's winning your headers and tackles against a striker. So it's making sure the lads understand what those 1v1s look like for them and making them accountable after every game on, this is the amount that you won, this is where you need to get to. And then the last bit was on another way that we track individual performance, so basically how the forward runs that you make, how you impact the game from a positive point of view. I've no interest in players who keep the ball and play backwards and sideways. I'm more of a Klopp style, if you like, than a Guardiola. Forward runs, people breaking in the box, attack the box. So they're kind of the 4 things really that we tried to implement and that I really wanted to put in from when we came in.
You know, when you said there about saying like your expectations of players, like if you're not running such a distance, then you're not playing. Would there be some players who would like hide away from that challenge and crumble under it, or do you know your group and expect them to step up and be think, yeah, right, let's prove to them that I can do it?
Well, for me, it was about transparency. So what I showed them was, so we went through some clips of moments when we weren't winning those 1v1 duels, particularly away from home. Then showed a load of clips that were really positive, but then we pulled the numbers up. So I did 3 or 4 individuals who I said to them, right, when's your best game this season that you think was your best game? What do you think was your worst game? And the numbers paired up exactly. So, for example, I won't say who it is, but one player against Nantwich hit 12k in terms of his running, and what he felt was his worst game was 10k. So there's the numbers. The numbers are telling us what we're seeing, which is that you are not working hard enough. So before the system and the style and everything, I know what these fans want to see, and I know what I want to see, which is what I've always wanted through every team that I've ever done, which comes before everything, is a relentless work rate, intensity in everything we do, challenging and passion. They're the things they're the traits that I want to see in a group. And for whatever reason, I don't feel as if you go through the Witten game and things like that, I don't feel as if we were seeing that. So that was the first thing that I wanted to change, just a mentality and accountability, rather than the football and the style. And as a centre back, you step in, we want this movement. It was before all that. It was a mentality shift.
I agree with that. I think if you've got players of the quality, then if they are working hard to the hardest they can, to the peak they can, then they're surely going to play better, aren't they? You're going to get the most out of them. And I think you hit the nail on the head, given what the club's motto is, that industry conquers everything, or hard work overcomes everything. So, nail on the head, I think, like saying what the fans want. And that's it. You can't ask for any more, can you? If the players are playing out the skin and giving everything every week, then you can't ask for much more.
Well, I'll show you this quickly. I've just checked. There's nothing on that's not. I
was going to say, because I do the match stats for Chris each week, and every time I see that players covering 12 kilometres in a match, I just think that's crazy, because there's always multiple players, and I just think that's huge numbers, and it's very rare that anybody even covers less than 10 or 11, no matter what the position is. I always remember seeing Aidan Walker covering 12k in a game, and he's playing centre half, and I was just thinking, where's he going?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'll share this with you. I'll show you this. So this is. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
So this was the first thing that we went about. So in terms of intensity being our identity, we want to see more mistakes, and they're the 4 areas that I spoke about before. These were the 3 targets that we spoke about. So the first thing to get in this team, in terms of the ground covered, so the 10.5k we spoke about, your 1v1 duels, the initiatives, which is that other metric we spoke about. They were the 3s who we highlighted. So when you were at your best, we covered 12k compared to 10k. Your 1v1 duels, you won 16 against 8, your best against your worst, and your initiatives 20 out of 18, and basically half of that. So we went through 3 or 4 players on that side. This was the possession the last 2 games. So this was probably the dip that we had, where we started coming pretty even in terms of possession, and this was the last 2 games, so highest of the season. And then this was what we went through on Thursday. So last 2 games had highest number of average sprints all season, 6 players all in double figures for sprints, 7 players over 10k, which is really, really good. 71% possession, and 60% of it in the final 2/3. So we're not overplaying in our own half. It's close to their goal. And then the highest number of regains. So they're the metrics that we're judging them on, and that we'll keep saying to the lads, right, you will be judged on this. We will keep coming back to this. So I think by doing that, you drive a certain mentality, and you drive certain behaviours. And then after that, it's about, right, I know where I want the team to go in terms of the style. I know what I want to see out of the shape, the system, etc. But you can't bring that in until you've got the values and the core values. And I know, listen, that's what the fans want to see as well. The Bury fans want to see a passionate team. You hear the roar as soon as Leo Graham went right through someone on the halfway line the other week and won that tackle. That is what the fans want to see. They want to see a hard-working team who are passionate about what they do. So,
yeah, I think the fans are going to really appreciate the answers you've just given on that. And obviously, if they are watching on YouTube, if you're listening, make sure you go to YouTube and sort of see this section as well. obviously, I think we know what the answer is going to be, but what can we expect from a Tim Lee side in 2026?
I'll show you this really quickly again. So again, best way. This is actually a video I'm doing just for the game tonight. So I think if you, this is the important thing from a managerial point of view. If you're taking Bury, so right from the start of last season, if you're going to manage this club and you're going to coach this team, this is pretty much what you face every single week. So a team that's compact, a team that's organised. We know. Interesting for you. So we know a lot of managers who come in our changing rooms, come in the managerial office after the games and will say to us, I've been prepping 3 or 4 weeks to play against your team. So I think the first thing is it's very difficult to scout opposition, and Daz does great with it, but it's more traits and individuals we're trying to get now because every team changes against us. So for example, Newcastle Saturday, all previous games they've been playing 4-4-2. They play us, they play with one striker. And they play with a midfield 5. And we found that quite a lot. Teams will adapt and change against us. So I suppose the point I'm making is that the first thing you find is this, which is most teams will sit in the half like that. They'll be really deep. There's no space to play in. They'll try and either counter-attack against you or set pieces, but their idea will come all the time. Can we try and keep the crowd quiet? Probably try and get to the latter half of the first half or second half, be in the game, and they feel as if that's the best chance for them. So the first and foremost, the problem that you face being at Bury is every team's going to be really compact and sit in like that, whether it's a back 5 or it's a back 4. So you've got to be able to deal as a coach or a manager with that particular problem. So it looks like that. So effectively, there's no space, there's no time, teams are really compact. So that is the problem that you've got to find a solution to every single week. So in terms of driving behaviours, like I said before, once you get the mentality of the group where you want it to be in terms of that winning 1v1 duels, the work rate, etc., it then comes down to, right, that's the problem you're facing all the week, every week. So when Dan, you were talking about training before, that's where now I'm really looking forward to getting some time on the pitch with the lads to go, right, this is what you're facing with this group of players now and this group of identities. How am I going to mould this team to play against that problem every week? So that's I suppose that's the problem that you face every week, and it's now about creating the solutions, which is my job.
Obviously, at the moment, we are 7 points off the top of the league. What are the expectations for the season, or is it just sort of take each game as it comes now?
Yeah, I think obviously we're under no illusions what the expectations of the club is to get promoted. Anytime you're at Bury, I think that is the only aim for the club, and it's certainly from a managerial and a player point of view. We know that's the end goal. It's kind of like running a marathon. You don't just look at the overall distance and go, right, I'm just going to try and get the best time I can. You break that down and go, how's this going to look in stages? How are we going to prep for this team? How does it look at home compared to away? So I really like to break that down and to put it in a real simplistic way. I've said to the lads, don't look at the league table. Don't focus on 5 games time. Don't focus on saving energy for this game. The only game that matters is this game. So we will pick our best team for the next game, every single game, and the only thing that should be in your mind is that game. So I know it's cliche, but the next game is the only one that matters. So, like I said, we know the aims, we know what we want to achieve, but I'm a big believer in setting targets along the way and breaking that goal down.
Yeah. And that's got to be a good way to take some of the pressure off that we discussed as well, by just having the short-term targets and taking it game by game rather than looking ahead and looking at the league table all the time and saying however many points you are behind or whatever, because we saw last season that can change, can't it? The way you can just go on a run by taking it game by game.
Yeah, it can, and I think what I've said to the lads is we're the chasers now. So when obviously last week we're in 7th in the table, we are the chasers. So we have to be the hungry team now who is going to consistently rack up points, consistently game by game keep edging up, and we'll see where it takes us. So listen, like I said, we're under no illusions. We know what the overall target is, but the only focus is 3 points week by week, and we'll see where it takes us.
Always thought this for a mindset. Would you rather be like top of the table, or would you rather be chasing? What do you think's like the easiest one?
rather be 20 points clear and at the top. But I think certainly the mentality and the hungry drive now that we're trying to instill in the players, I'm loving the fact that we're chasing. I'm loving the fact that teams are above us, and again, we're not particularly looking out for other people's results. We're just focusing on us. It's the exact same thing I talk about with the players. How we play. Don't worry about the opposition. Don't worry about how they play. I'll give you the individual details of it, but 99% of the focus is on us. How do we impose the way we want to play on every opponent? We dominate the pitch. We own it, with and without the ball. We are in control of everything, and that's the mentality that I think is really important. Again, not we're the best team in the league. You've got a divine right to win the league. We've got the most fans in the league. It's not that. I'm trying to change that mentality.
Also, the $1 million question on everyone's lips at the moment, and a lot of fans have asked this when we've asked on socials, is about your future after this current season. It can be as open or closed as you want on this, but how do you sort of see your role at Bury moving forward? Does it depend on like what happens in the summer?
Yeah, look, I think I don't have an ego with it, so I'm not desperate to be the manager. I'm not desperate to. I'm happy to be in any role where as long as I'm coaching the group and I'm improving the lads individually and collectively, that's where I get my joy. I think, obviously, I needed to step up, and the board and the club and the players wanted me to step up and do it. Obviously, it's something that I've got, like I said before, a lot of experience doing over many years, and managing 200 staff as academy manager and director in America is a lot more difficult than managing just a group of 20 lads. So it's something that, again, like I'm really confident doing, I'm really happy doing, and I've got a lot of clarity on where I think the group can go and how it's going to evolve. But at the same time, honestly, fellas, it's extremely time consuming. So obviously there's a lot of I'm very as a person, I don't particularly get like really emotional. I've never been kind of a person that gets really stressed with anything, but there is a lot of pressure on the job and there is a lot of time constraints on it. So obviously I've got a family and things like that, and it's a big responsibility. So look, I've said let's give it our best shot from now until mid-April. We'll see where it takes us, but if the club feels if it's right for me to go back to an assistant and it's a manager that I'd like to work with, and I think I can contribute to them, I'm happy doing that. Yeah, we'll just see where it goes.
I think, like, speaking on behalf of Mo fans, like, they would love to see you sort of stick around. Like, you just have to look at the social media reaction you got. I know you said on Twitter you don't really use it, but every message was positive around you when that news was confirmed. Obviously, if people have stayed this long in the episode, they'll know how much detail that goes into your prep. If they've listened 2 years ago or whenever you first came on, they'll know everything that you've done for this club so far. And I'm sure that they'd love to see you involved in some capacity, no matter what that would be.
And honestly, that I can't tell you how much that means. I think that's a big driver for me. It's I absolutely love the club, and like I said before, I had a lot of friends who lost jobs. I've got a big history with it. I actually was going to work for the club in the academy full time at one point before everything happened, and I think it's look, it's the best club outside of a full time environment. I tell this to the lads all the time. It's a complete privilege to be here, and the fact that the fans are backing me with that, it does mean a lot. I don't particularly. The reason I came off social media is because I do try and get some of the lads, if they think it's going to influence them, to come off it as well. I think you can. I'm just a big believer you can get dragged down in a lot of that as well, and there's a lot of negativity around social media, not Bury, around everything else. So, but no, I did see all the positive messages, and I genuinely thank people. It really did mean a lot, and it when I took the job, it said to me that I've made the right decision when I saw all that.
BIMTech is a digital engineering company specialising in fully coordinated, clash-detected MEP models for the construction sector. Bringing together expertise from engineering, computing and media, we're expanding with offices in Manchester, Glasgow and Hungary. It's our commitment to detail, innovation and world-class service that has led us to work with some of the biggest players in the UK, including Skanska, NG Baileys, SES, Briggs & Forrester and Lango Rourke.
Cool. So we're at that part of the interview where we're going on to some quickfire questions, and as we are 2 days away from Christmas, it is time for some Christmas-themed questions. So first one, how early is it acceptable to play Christmas music?
If you're my missus, I think that Christmas station's on in the car probably from October time, so very, very early, unfortunately.
What's the ideal date to put up Christmas decorations?
Our house far too early, honestly. She starts counting the days down by the back end of summer, genuinely. Yeah, we're up really early, not by choice, my choice, but I don't know, late November for me. I don't like doing it early.
Favorite Christmas film?
Good question. Do you know what? I always watch with my family. It's a Wonderful Life, older one, bit of a classic. Yeah, none of our players are going to have any idea what that film is at all.
One that you avoided when we were filming, Sam and Craig did it. Best Christmas present you've ever received?
Best Christmas present. Do you know what my mum gets me every year? We go to, she buys, there's a restaurant in Cartmel, little village, in Cartmel called, it's Rogan's, and we go to this place every year, and I'm really into my food. I love it. So strongly advise anyone, but we go there every year between Christmas and New Year, and she buys me and my missus that every year, and we love it.
I went in August. It's fantastic. Yeah, I went in August. Yeah. Class.
Rogan's or Long Clune? Which one did you go?
Can't afford Long Clune.
No, I'm the same. No, definitely not. Yeah, it's top drawer, isn't it? Well,
Lynx Africa set or new socks?
Yeah, socks.
If you could ban one thing from Christmas, what would it be?
Do you know what? I would definitely ban flavoured mince pies. She's been bringing in these mince pies from M&S with rum and stuff in. Just go back to the classic ones. They're absolutely terrible.
I think I have to agree on that. We did our Christmas shopping last night in an M&S, and it was like, there's too many flavours, too many choices. Just get me some little classic ones.
Yeah.
What is your choice of meat on Christmas dinner?
Turkey, all day long.
What's your ideal Christmas dinner plate?
Everything will. Chuck it all on. Pile it up. Again, love me food. I think Christmas, you just literally from when you first get up in the morning is just all about eating as much as you can. Breakfast, Christmas dinner, desserts, cheese board at night, everything.
You won't be getting weighed then on Boxing Day.
Definitely not.
Who's the one player that you'd trust to cook you a Christmas dinner?
God, none of them. Honestly, I have this conversation with them that some of the diets are terrible and they can't cook. Do you know what? I have conversations. So I'm really into my food and I eat really clean. Like I love my nutrition. And Cam Fogg's actually looks after himself. He's really into his diet. He's always on some mad supplement or something else. But he's probably the one that don't ever trust him to cook. But he's into everything. He eats everything organic, and yeah, he looks after himself.
Who's most likely to turn up late on Boxing Day?
None of them. I've pushed this massively. I cannot stand like punctuality, like everything on that standards and culture side. I'm massive on. Like the lads know. Who's the most likely? Do you know what? Probably Kai, but it's not his fault. He lives in Wrexham, so he can turn up, and if he's got to set off and work and get to gig at 6, it's a massive commitment he makes. So I think probably him, but not his fault. To be fair to him.
New Year's resolution?
Be happy. Yeah, I think without going too much into it, I've had a difficult year in terms of I lost my dad in the summer, and I think for me it's just important at Christmas that people spend time with family, and you never know when it's gonna be the last one with people. So put the phones down, enjoy people's company, have conversations with people that instead of sitting on your phones, go and spend time with people.
But if you are going to go on your phone, then make sure you're watching or listening to the Mighty Shakers podcast, of course.
Absolutely.
We had some fan questions as well, which are a little bit quick fire. Sean Carolyn asks, prawn crackers or poppadoms?
Poppadoms.
Rob Black
Depends what with, doesn't it? Depends what with, but yeah, poppadoms probably, yeah. A bit of mango, yeah.
Rob Black asks Luke Humphries or Luke Littler to win the darts.
I'd go Littler.
Hot or medium sauce on your kebab? A terrible question after you've told you to clean living.
I'd go hot, probably, yeah.
And then finally, what is your message to fans ahead of the Boxing Day game against Clitheroe?
Yeah, listen, I've set it up for all the players. The lads who haven't, like I said before, the lads who haven't played in this fixture are really, really excited for it. We know they'll come out. We know the support will be great. I think obviously it's helped that the last couple of games are 2 wins. So hopefully we'll put a show on that. It's really important to me that when people are paying the hard-earned money and they're paying to come to the ground, that obviously it's a results-based business and that's the most important, but I want people to enjoy it as well. I want people to turn up and watch a team that they're proud of, that they see traits of themselves in and that plays really entertaining football. So, look, we're getting there. I've said to the lads, it'll take between 4 and 6 games to really get it flying, but seeing improvement every game and every session, that's the plan. So, hopefully another 3 points, but we know the support. It's unbelievable.
So thanks to Tim for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed that as a little Christmas special, an early Christmas present for all Bury fans. Obviously, other news, we spoke about Tyler James leaving on the last one, confirmed to have joined Radcliffe in the National League North. He's been involved in 2 games so far, but only 7 minutes game time. Obviously, Rio Clegg, Jordan Hume doing well for them. Cam Fogarty's obviously bounced back quick. He popped his shoulder out and he was back for the Newcastle Town game over on the weekend. So hopefully he continues. Newcastle Town, let's talk about that just a little bit. Will, you were the only one who went from us three. What are your thoughts on that match?
Thought it was superb. I know a couple of people disagree with me in the group who went, but I thought everything about it, tempo, pressing, the way we played, it was exciting, it was interesting. They had 2 shots, not on target. It was literally straight from kickoff. They pumped it up and it was like a bit of a weird bounce. Pitch was very heavy. Went out for a corner or something, and then they had one right at the death which went wide. And other than that, they did absolutely nothing. We were great. Leo Graham was class. Beto at left back did really well. Skinned his man a few times, put some decent balls in. The only thing that we're probably lacking, being critical, was probably that something in the final third. It should have been more than one because the keeper made a few good saves. But yeah, probably should have been 2 or 3, really. But we made them look very, very poor. I thought they were the worst side we've played this year.
Obviously, quite a bit of a unique stadium. So those who haven't seen the photos, has like a dirt cycle track around the side. How was that? Because obviously you're a bit further back from the pitch compared to other grounds that we've been to.
Yeah, well, when I walked in, I got flashbacks of Litherland in that driving rain that me and you did that Tuesday night. But when you walk in, there's a little stand with terrace on. But the dugouts are right in front, so it blocked part of the pitch. For me, obviously being a short ass, I had to move. So I walked around and then it raises at the corners. So I stood at one of the corner flags and you're probably 10, 15 foot up. So you actually have a good view of the pitch. So probably the quirkiest ground I've ever been to, but actually my view was brilliant, really. Disabled section on the side of the pitch as well.
Yeah, I did see that. They were right next to it, weren't they? Looking ahead to Boxing Day, obviously you've got Clitheroe, who are mid-table at the moment, 29 points from 21 games, but they have progressed in the FA Trophy. That was to beat York City, was it, on penalties a few weeks ago? They've got Sean McConville, the former Accrington guy, in charge as well. Dan, what are your thoughts ahead of this match?
I think it should be good, shouldn't it? Good atmosphere. Last couple of seasons we've won and drawn, haven't we, on Boxing Day? So it should be a good atmosphere and a good chance for us to sort of play our game, I guess, at home, and Tim to, as he was saying, enforce ourselves on another side and play our style of play. I'm confident. I think we'll win. I think I'll go for a win on the Predictions League. I'm unfortunately going to be in the lake, so I'll be streaming it. But yeah, I think we'll win. And if we're getting a couple of players back fit, and we've obviously just got a centre half in as well, and if we're going to get left back in, then it's looking good for Boxing Day and going into early January as well.
What are your thoughts, Will?
I was saying 2-0, but after speaking to Tim today, I'm going to go 4-0. He's got me confident and excited for it. But I think all you want is effort, isn't it? I think as a fan, and obviously that seems like that's Tim's main focus, isn't it, at the minute coming in? So yeah, I think lots to look forward to for us.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of an odd game because obviously, like they are mid-table, but looking at their recent results, like they've played 3 sort of teams up there in December so far. So they started the month with a 1-1 draw away at Lower Breck. We know how difficult that ground is to go to. They lost 2-0 away at Runcorn on the 16th, and then just this past Saturday they drew 2-2 with Shifnal, and I think, if I remember correctly, they were 2-0 up in that game. So it's going to be a tough game, but obviously Tim mentioned pressures and stuff. Like, there's going to be a bit of a boost of a crowd. I think it won't be as much as we've seen in the past, but I'm hopeful of 4,500 at least to come down. So it's going to be a nice atmosphere. Hopefully, we can take advantage of that, get some more fans back for the Avro game on the 10th of January as well.
Yeah,
might do us a bit of a favour with only one Prem game as well.
Yeah, I think Clitheroe with the team early on who nearly beat Lower Breck, weren't they? And then Lower Breck came back last minute, I think, one of the first teams. But yeah, should be a good game. Hopefully we get 3 points and then kick on into the new year. So Stalybridge then, isn't it? At home. Away, sorry.
Yeah, so we've got Stalybridge on the 1st, Shifnal on the 3rd, which annoyingly I can't make now because I'm in Scotland, and then Avro at home on the 10th as well. And just so fans are aware for the Clitheroe game as well, sadly, Bury fan Laura Smith passed away last month, so her family have asked supporters to join in with a minute's applause in the 47th minute of the game in memory of her. So if you're at the game, please join in with that. I'm sure it'll be posted on Facebook as well. That's where I saw it. Through Brian White on Shakers Together. So yeah, I think her family might be there as well. So that'll be nice for them. So yeah, that is all for today's episode. Shakers shout out is going to be for everyone heading to Gigg Lane on Boxing Day. Be loud, be proud. We know there's going to be exiles that are going to be making the trip down. So if you are going, tag us in photos on Twitter or X, however you want to call it these days. We will reshare. And yeah, I think this is our final episode of 2025. The Dave McNabb episode is either going to be over New Year or at the start of New Year. We're not too sure when we got that done, but probably more likely going to be after the Shifnal town game, looking at schedules and stuff like that. So a big thank you to everyone who has tuned in, who has listened, who has watched, who has fed back, who has shared on Twitter, everyone, and most importantly to our sponsors, AC Ventilation, BIMTech Engineering, Eye Level Sunglasses, and backtotheoffice.co.uk. So that's us three signing out for Christmas. Hope everyone has a great Christmas. We'll see you on Boxing Day and have a good New Year as well. Up the Shakers.
Up the Shakers.